Howdy, cowboys. It's closing time at the Liquid Lunch Saloon. That's right, it's the last call for alcohol. And we have had one heck of a show today. We covered it all. We went from the campuses. We went to right into the military with Lieutenant Colonel Dan Davis. We had Bill Cortez on, decorated Marine veteran, talking about all the great things that Donald Trump is doing for our country, taking out the #1 terrorist. We had Shadim Korosi on, who was talking to us about how real Muslims aren't for death. And her book, her book, what was that book? Islam's Original Story, which talks about how people like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi have bastardized this religion. And you know, before I get into my closing monologue or diatribe, whatever you want to call it, yesterday we had on a great friend of the show, Jen KERNS. Jen KERNS is a speechwriter for Fox News for the presidential debates. Jen was the comms director for the California State Party. She's always here for us. And she was pointing out how Bannon and potentially some of the people around Steve Bannon are really laying the wood to Rudy because they want to force out Rudy. Bannon wants to get back in. And, you know, Jen brings us real talk. She's a real person. And you know what? These people that are around Steve Bannon, they should have a little thicker skin. Because if you want to be in the major leagues, don't start crying about someone talking about her views on things. If you want to text Jen KERNS at 1 o'clock in the morning when you're all drunked out, here you go. Here's a text that Jen got last night. I was voice texting you, safety first. You're a blank, dude. This is what one of Bannon's folks, and he basically told her to F off. And then again came back at her with, hey, F-face, I'm naming and shaming your press release tomorrow. I'm releasing all our messages. Let's take that down, okay? We were nice enough to black out this clown's name, okay? But I'm sure you could figure out that if it's someone who's around Steve Bannon, okay, he's a little Brit guy, I actually was there for the screening of Steve Bannon's movie when it showed in Staten Island, and I liked it, and I interviewed Steve Bannon. I thought we had a good conversation. But the people around you are making some bad mistakes, Mr. Bannon, and this guy is supposedly like a co-host or something, so you figure it out. The name of the show, the podcast is War Room, Impeachment. It's not Steve Bannon sending these messages. But if you want to listen to the podcast, and Steve Bannon does have some good insights, and you know, I've been a fan. He was one of the people that created the narrative that kind of swept up Donald Trump. I mean, Roger Stone was the founder, but Bannon kind of took it up with him. I give him credit for that. But this idiot, you know, if you're going to go out drinking at night, don't start drunk texting chicks. And on top of it, in this day and age, in a time of like a really hypersensitive women's movement, the Me Too movement, what man refers to a woman as F-face? You know what the F stands for, okay? It gets auto-corrected in my phone sometimes to duck, okay? And he didn't call her a duck face, okay? He called her something really close to that. Lay off Jen KERNS, okay? Because you're not just fighting Jen KERNS anymore. She's one of our correspondents. She's one of the people who comes here to give us real talk. And if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, or whatever they call it over there in London where you came from. We got the guests who know where the rubber meets the road. And if you got a beef with Jen, you got a beef with Liquid Lunch. And guess what? You're welcome to come on down and say your side of the story, but stop drunk texting my girl, okay? She's part of our team, and nobody's going to do that to Jen KERNS. Not on my watch, I can tell you that. And the last thing you want, Mr. Co-host on the War Room Impeachment, is if I let the word out to the Wild West Crypto Show, you're going to have a whole posse of cowboys on your tail, and you ain't going to like it because you're going to be boxed inside it in a turtle's pecker, my friend. And that's my rant for today. I want to thank all my guests, including Johnny Alves. Johnny Falcones was here. He's going to try to get us on 40 million phones. And my new slogan will be just this. NEWSMAX TV's Liquid Lunch. 70 million homes, 40 million phones coming at you every day. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel.